Hello, hello. Welcome to Perry 10K. Hi, Ducky. How are you? Good to have you here. So excited to be talking about there being enough for everybody. Isn't that the truth? So excited to be here. So, for those of you guys who are not familiar with Perry 10K, Perry 10K is an awesome community of change makers. So, I've got some really, really awesome tips to share with you. I'm actually the pattern girl. So I love looking at patterns, and patterns with abundance are awesome. So we're going to be talking about that today. I'm just going to give us just a few more minutes for people to join. Hi, Jerry. Good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Deborah Acker. I love, love, love talking about abundance and ways to do it because I've made tons of shifts myself to help create more abundance in my life, and I want to go ahead and share those with you. So really, like I said, I love to talk about patterns, and the pattern of scarcity, hi Barry, the pattern of scarcity can be such a big one, right? We can get really, really, we can get really, really used to it or caught up in it, right? So one of the really big things, big awarenesses to have with scarcity and just looking at how to start to shift this is noticing, Reach and Make Millions is next, just so you know. Reach and Make Millions. I've got it in my title too, so Katya should be coming up next. But with this pattern of scarcity, it's really important to look at what messages around money that you grew up with, right? So hello everyone, thanks so much for joining. We're talking about there is enough for everybody, and I love talking about patterns, so I want to talk about the pattern of scarcity. So basically with this, with the pattern of scarcity, just looking at what messages you grew up around, right? For me, a lot of the message when I was growing up was that we didn't have enough money, or we didn't have a lot of money, right? And when I was growing up, that was my mom's way of sort of making sure that I didn't ask for a lot. But what ended up happening was that I kind of took on this it was comfortable, it was safe, right? So it was safe for me to basically to take on that belief system that I didn't have a lot of money. And unfortunately, but fortunately because I was able to overcome it, I took that into my adulthood. So really starting to recognize what messages, how did your parents communicate about money to you when you were growing up, right? And just really, really looking at that and kind of just becoming aware. It's like, okay, what did your parents tell you about money? You know, did they have a lot of it? Did they have to be careful? Did they have to watch out? And if anyone wants to share really what one message that their parents had about around money when they were growing up, I would love to see that, love to expand on that more. But so just that's one really, really important thing. Another thing too, when you're looking at your relationship with money is, and if you happen to have oh, okay, here. So my mom said, I don't have money, I never will. I know, so mine was just that we don't have money. But yeah, it's such a common one, right? To grow up where it's like our parents and our grandparents, when they were growing up, it was common not to have money, right? And it was something that became very comfortable for them, very safe. So we end up doing that, right? We end up just getting very used to that and very comfortable with that, even though it's not really, really serving us. So, we end up kind of stepping into this either just barely having enough. A lot of times in the past, it was all around just kind of barely having enough, just barely getting by. Or, we didn't have it, right? And so that was just something we got very, very comfortable with, something just very easy. So, another thing I want to point out is, and if you have a wallet with you that you can take out money, I would definitely recommend doing this. But just taking out money, taking out a dollar bill or $20 bill, and noticing what feelings, what emotions come up when you take that money out and you actually hold it in your hand. Maybe you're you don't want to look at it. Maybe it feels dirty to you. You're oh, this is icky. Maybe a lot of times what ends up happening, especially when money has hurt us in some way, say for instance, one of your parents didn't want to pay the other parent child support, right? And so when you're a kid, you're watching this and you're watching all the pain and all the, Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad is really good for financial education. Yeah, definitely. It definitely is really, really good. So, when we're growing up, you're watching all this pain that money causes and you want to create that separation because like as a kid, you just want to get as far away from it, as possible, right? And so just noticing whatever emotions come up when you take this money out and even how you treat your money, right? So like, do you want to crumple it up? Do you want to, cool. That's good to know. So, we'll be going over to Reach and Make Millions soon with Katya. So make sure you definitely follow her. But just noticing, it's like, when you have money in your purse or in your wallet, do you crumple it up? How do you treat it? And how, yeah, we've got 6 more minutes. So how would you treat it? Like if money was, your lover, if you could pretend like money was your lover, which is kind of a fun thing. But if you could pretend, like money is your lover, how would that shift it, right? How would you want to treat it? I mean, sometimes you still want to say like, I need my space. But just noticing, really how that lands in you, right? How, when you're holding that money, when it's in your purse, when it's in your wallet, when it's, around you, what you want to do with it. Do you want to hide it? Are you scared someone's going to take it away from you? Noticing all of those, things are so important. It's so important to begin to really create that relationship with money. Like to actually start to create that relationship, move away from the separation and begin to really, really create that relationship with money. So like once you kind of get awareness around all that stuff, obviously, starting to treat your money differently depending on how you're treating it now can definitely very much help. The other thing is when we look at that pattern of scarcity, scarcity shows up in a lot of ways, right? So one way it can show up is just by saving a lot of stuff. Like if you save papers, if you save stuff in your fridge, like if you're saving things that you don't need, a lot of times that can be a really big way that scarcity shows up that we're just not aware of. So just getting aware of that and taking it as you start to, if you do that, taking it one step at a time, right? So we tend to sometimes it can be very overwhelming, right? Exactly, hoarding. So sometimes it can be very overwhelming when we think about trying to go through all the papers we have or all of the stuff in our fridge, right? But if you could take it one shelf at a time, one stack at a time, and start to go through it like that, that can definitely help to shift it. That can definitely help to change it. Another thing to really look at with scarcity, and we all kind of do this at times, but when we're in line, right, and we're scared we're not going to get a seat, or we're in our car and we don't want to let someone in. So really, really being aware of that and noticing that and noticing, because that's another form of scarcity, right? There's not enough space for us. There's not enough room. There's not enough space. Yeah, exactly. All at one time versus like one shelf or stack. That's a much better way. So just really noticing when you're driving or when you're in line at a concert or at a show or in class and you're worried about getting that seat, how you show up, right? So something that can really, really help with all this stuff is breathing, right? So many times it's an old trigger when we're like worried about there not being enough space for us. That can be an old trigger. So just really, really breathing and just noticing if, like I was just stepping into my true abundance, right? Which we all are. We're all true abundant beings. We're all really big beings. If I was stepping into my true abundance, what would that look like, right? And just breathing and opening yourself up and starting just to expand and just really, really just stepping into the truth of who we are, the truth of who we came here to be, which is abundant beings. Another thing that really shifted things for me like crazy is I had a mantra. So my mantra was, and this was from years ago, I started this years ago in medical sales, but it was, I do not need to make sales to make money. Right? So a lot of people are like, oh, that's a little out there, right? It is an out there idea because we always think we get conditioned to thinking that we need to do to receive, right? So that's a very good awareness. Like if you are conditioned around doing to receive, just becoming aware of that, right? But so I had this mantra, I don't need to make sales to make money. And what ended up happening is everybody else around me would make sales on my behalf in my territory, and then I would make money from it. So it was one of those things that as it was sort of like I started to attach to it, and then it started to prove that became my belief system. I internalized it, and I just looked for proof of it everywhere, right? And proof just started showing up. So yeah, so Katya is coming on next. She's at Reach and Make Millions, so make sure you follow her. She's got emojis up right there, so that's awesome. But just really, really noticing, like, you don't have to do anything to make money if you believe that, right? And looking for proof of how that shows up in your life right now, right? So many times we're like, well, that's ridiculous. I do need to do something. Well, if you believe that, then that'll be true. And if you don't believe it, then you can also create that. So you get to choose what you create. And for me, it worked. I mean, seriously, like crazy. Like I would laugh. I just started to laugh because it would be like, I get another email. Oh, hey, this is going to be coming up in your territory. So it was so fun. I made over like $1 million in sales, I should say, not in commissions, but I made $1 million in sales just with that mantra alone. So, you know, you get to choose whatever you create. You get to choose whatever you attach to. So noticing, it's like, okay, if I attach to that, awesome, Katya. So Katya's going to be setting up next. But just noticing if I attach to that, like if that belief was working for me, so I attached to that, right? So we get to choose whatever we attach to. That belief worked for me, so I chose that one. I could have easily said I have to work hard to make money, and then that would have shown up in my life too. So just really being conscious of what we say, what our stories are around, how much we can make, what we need to do for money, all of those stories. Just really, really paying attention to those. Really. Really just paying attention to those, just being aware of those and just noticing those, and just being conscious of that. And then too, the other thing is when we spend money, just noticing when you've got money in your hand, you can always send the energy of gratitude towards that money as you pay for something or as you give a gift to somebody. So you can always get in that energy of gratitude, right? So just noticing as you're spending money, as you're making money, just noticing that and really just always getting in that energy of gratitude so that you can always be in the energy of gratitude. Gratitude is a very high energy. Getting the energy of gratitude helps you with manifesting. So just always it's like we can put that energy out there every single time we spend money, every single time we give a gift. We can always put that energy out there. And so does anyone know if Katya is live yet? I haven't seen her come up yet, but she is going to be live. I love money. Like I love playing in it. I've had such big expansion around it because I did come from a family of scarcity. And so for me to be able to step into and own the truth of who I was and to really own my abundance, which was huge for me, like that, all of those, I have a gazillion tools, of which, we went over several of them today, but that was awesome. The other thing too that you can do, which a lot of people talk about, is that 10% account. So just creating a 10% account and actually paying yourself first before you pay your bills, because guess what, guys? When we pay our bills first, we tell our bills that they're more important than us. So actually putting aside the money and paying yourself first tells the universe, I'm more important than my bills. If you pay your bills first, which I know is a big habit, it's very easy for us to do, but if you pay your bills first, that is something that then ends up where you tell the universe that that's what you're prioritizing. So just really, that's really, really important. It's really, really key. Yes, exactly. Paying yourself first. Super, super, super important. What else do I got here? I got a lot of fun things. Like I said, I love playing, playing with money. So, yes, no, that's super, super awesome. And then, let's see. Add to, the other thing too that we do a lot of times is when we're looking to spend money on something and it's a big expense, a big amount of money, is we always look at what we could take away so that we can afford it, instead of looking at the fact, what can I add so that I can afford this, right? So can I add another client? Can I add another job? Can I add, a call to my grandma? Whatever it is, looking at what you can add versus what you need to take away to be able to afford what you want. So that's so super important. Such an important thing, just to kind of notice again, what you can add versus what you take away to be abundant. So, yes, exactly. What can I add to afford this? So, Yeah, so does anyone know, is Katya live? Because I know I'm like way over here, but I didn't see her go live. So does anyone know if she's live or not? Oh, sweet. Okay. Thanks. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I so appreciate it. Definitely go ahead and follow Katya. And yeah, thanks so much. Take care.